You've been sold this fantasy your whole life that there's some real you out there, this polished version of yourself, your final form, if you will, and it's just waiting to be unveiled one day like a statue under a tarp. But in reality, there is no you. There's just this character sheet that's covered in buzzwords that was given to you in pieces by your parents, your guidance counselor, your unresolved childhood shit, your Instagram feed, your fucking HR department. It's your algorithmic reflection in a culture that's been recycling the same fucking 12 personalities since 1997. And you've been performing this character ever since. Like you're auditioning for a part in a play you didn't even write, directed by people you don't fucking like, for an audience that's like on their phone the whole time. But the script is a lie. You're not too much. You're not enough. You're not this, that, or the next thing. You're not anything yet. And the version of you that's actually real, well, they're not lost. You're just sitting backstage waiting, bored, wondering how long you're going to keep doing this shit, pretending. You don't need to find yourself. You need to lose yourself. And if that sounds like a lot, well, it is. So let's fucking do it. You don't cling to your identity because it's true. You cling to it because it's convenient, because it gets you out of the work, of risk, of attention. Oh, that's just not me, you say. And you believe it because it feels true. But comfort and truth aren't the same thing. And who you feel like right now, well, look, that's just the version of you that you've practiced most. You think identity is like some sort of North Star, some sort of fucking compass. It's not. It's a loop. It's your ego writing the same sentence over and over and over and over again and calling it a story. So let's break that loop. Stop asking, who am I? And start asking, who do I need to be to break the fucking pattern? That's the shift. Not some big dramatic thing. You don't need like a personality transplant. Just a moment of clarity where you stop saying, this is me, and you start saying, this is what I'm doing now. A lot of times on boot camp, I'll coach a student to like change the way that they're communicating to get a better result, right? Like, okay, so the way that you're doing it right now is clearly ineffective, doesn't fucking work. And in my somewhat considerable experience, I have found that if you do this, it tends to work much more frequently. So let's do that. And I'll do that, pretty simple. And they'll kind of bristle up. They're like, well, that's just not me. That's not me. It's like they feel I'm asking them to portray this character that's not them intrinsically somehow. Because the second that you try to break out of your usual behavior patterns, your mind fights back. All right, that's not me. I don't do that. People will think I'm weird or try hard or pushy or aggressive or XYZ. What your mind's really saying is, that's just not what I'm used to. That might actually change something. And change feels like death. Even a disempowering identity, it's still an identity. So you're going to cling on to it, even though you know it's not fucking helping you. Because your ego doesn't give a shit if you're fulfilled. It cares if you're familiar. It's a lot like putting on new shoes the first time. At first, it's going to pinch. It's uncomfortable. They don't quite fit. But the more you wear them in, the more that you break them and they start to conform to the shape of your foot. And that's exactly how it works when you start, stylizing your communication differently. At first, it's awkward. You're not used to stepping out of the box. But the more that you try on these strange ways of being, so to speak, the more comfortable it gets. And eventually, you arrive at a point where, this new way of interacting feels more real than that old fucking character you were playing. Let's be clear. The new version that you adopt, that's not the character. The one that you're clinging to right now, that's the fucking character. So yes, you're initially going to feel that tension between the real you trying to emerge and the character you've been portraying. But that friction, that's where all the growth happens, okay? When you stop clinging to your identity like it's this fragile antique and start treating it more like a wardrobe, different clothes you can put on, a toolkit. Instead of thinking, how do I act like myself here? You think, okay, well, what energy does this moment require? And can I be the one that provides it? It's not faking. It's not lying. It's simple choice. You choose how to use your face, your voice, your body. That's stylizing. It's not about becoming something else. It's about realizing you were never something fixed to begin with. It's about bending the moment toward you by choosing how you show up inside of it. But look, most people will never get there. They just won't. They just fucking won't. Because if you keep clinging to your old labels, that safe little box where you're protected from the fucking judgment, if you do that, you know exactly what your life looks like. You try to speak, people talk over you. You tell a joke, nobody laughs, or worse, they look at you like you just fucking farted. You watch someone else walk out the venue with the girl you couldn't even make eye contact with. And then you go home and you tell yourself, it's not so bad. I tried. I tried. I'm getting out there. But look, deep down, you're getting fucking annihilated out there. Now flip it. Imagine you speak and everybody thinks you're fucking hilarious and awesome. Your joke's killed. Your opinions land. That girl that never noticed you before, now she's telling her friends, I'm good here. Leave us alone. I want to talk to this guy. You command respect. You get the bag. You get the number. You're in control. That's what this is. Not just some little boost. Not just like being more like expressive and stuff and putting myself out there. No. You go from getting ignored to being unfucking deniable. From like sidelined to running the whole fucking show. So let's be real. Keep lying to yourself. Keep doing what you're doing. And the humiliation continues. Or you could click the link in the description. You can get in the program. You could let me train you personally and we'll fix this. No more bitter nights going home to cry into a bag of Uber Eats. No more watching someone else live your dream. Click the link. Fix this. Or get used to being the punchline forever. Because the thing is, the shit you're doing right now, it doesn't fucking work. You think being yourself, quote unquote, as in the version of you that never rocks the boat, never risks embarrassment, never speaks with force, you think that guy's going to get you the win. It won't. You want to close a deal, captivate a room, make a stranger at a bar feel like you're the only person they want to be with for the next several hours. These are not things that normal people do in their everyday lives. This is high level shit. And if you want those kind of results, well, you got to step into a whole new level of communication. You want gangster results, you got to do gangster shit. And your old character sheet doesn't allow you to do that. It keeps you small enough to be tolerated, predictable enough to be fucking ignored. Fuck that. You cannot be a closer if you're invisible. You got to speak like your voice takes up space and deserves to. You got to step up, step in, take over the fucking set, command attention, be the motherfucking man. And yeah, your mind's going to be like, well, that's not me. That's your character sheet trying to drag you back. Thing is, there is no such thing as a natural personality. You were not born with a personality. You were born screaming with no coordination. Everything else that came after that, you copied, you watched, you guessed, you got feedback, and you eventually stitched together something that worked well enough to get you through 8th grade lunch. Congratulations. That's your fucking personality. So yeah, when I tell you to communicate in a way that gets results, and you're like, it's not me, remember, at a certain point, neither was this version. There is a parallel to the original learned naturalness of your current personality and the process of adopting a new style. At least this time you get to fucking choose, not just have it foisted upon you. And look, I think it's important to note here, in this process, you're not fundamentally changing who you are. You're just finally stepping into the version of you would have been if you hadn't spent the last 20 years trying to not get kicked out of the fucking group chat. So burn the character sheet. Not because it's bad per se, just because it's limiting. Once you stop playing small, now you are free to go big and actually succeed. All right? So look, you get it. The old script's a lie. It's suffocating, blah, 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 blah. How do you actually kill it? Well, you must perform a violent tactical deconstruction of your current identity. This is how you burn the sheet. Step 1, question every fixed trait. Literally, write down all the things that you believe about yourself. All of them. The shit you say out loud, the shit you don't, the things that you say to excuse your life. I'm shy. I'm not the confident type. I'm more of a thinker. Oh, that's not really my vibe. That's douchey or whatever. Okay. Write all those down. Now for each of those, ask yourself 3 questions. Okay. Where the fuck did I get this from? Did I actually choose this? And what does believing this get me out of doing? Because most of your traits are, in fact, actually just clever little cages. They're what you say so you can avoid risk. Okay, they're little excuses that you've rehearsed so often, they feel like your personality. And once you realize that, yeah, it's probably going to sting a little bit. Might kind of piss you off that you've been doing this shit for so long. Good. Let it. Let that anger crack the shell. Rip that shit up. Because the moment that you stop identifying with these labels, you become dangerous. Not to other people, but to the version of yourself that's kept you stuck. Step 2, now you got to break your patterns out in the field. This is not theory. We do street level warfare against your social conditioning. You need to go outside immediately and sabotage your default patterns. Say what you would normally censor. Stop all the self-editing. Say the uncomfortable shit, the edgy joke, the direct statement, the honest intention. Stop playing safe. Lean into the fucking discomfort. Flip your archetypes mid-conversation. 1 minute you're a cocky fucking dick, the next you're playful. Then you're the urbane, articulate conversationalist. Then you're the vulnerable, empathetic listener, right? Change it up. Keep them guessing. Real power isn't consistency. This is how I am. It's adaptability. I implore you, I invite you to choose chaos over the predictable. Again, you think that script keeps you safe? It doesn't. It keeps you invisible. It keeps you a piece of fucking furniture. Life is not scripted. Life is chaos. Embrace it. Improvise. React organically. Trust your intuition. You must learn to trust it. Every time you break pattern, you're telling your nervous system, we don't live by those rules anymore. So when you go out, you're not just approaching people, okay? You're actually staging a quiet little revolution in public, in real time, against the very idea that you have to be anyone to belong there. Step 3, you must train authority and spontaneity. 2 things, okay? To burn that sheet, you need to master these 2 opposing forces. First, authority. This is your internal anchor of certainty. It's not loud. It's not aggressive. It's grounded and unshaken, right? It's knowing that you can fucking handle it. Authority means you don't ask the moment for permission. You don't perform certainty. You generate it from within. Like even when you're improvising, your presence is saying, this shit is mine. Second, you want to train spontaneity. And this is the energy, okay? This is the lightning bolt you throw into the conversations. This is what makes people like lock in and pay attention to you because they have literally no idea what the fuck's going to come out your mouth next. And quite frankly, neither do you. It's like, damn, I'm fucking hilarious and awesome. Where do I come up with this shit? It's spontaneity. It's what happens when your mouth moves faster than your fear. It's trusting yourself to say the thing you did not prepare beforehand. It's making the move before your brain gets to vote on it. All right. It's walking into the room without a plan and knowing you're still going to own this shit. So together, these 2 energies, authority and spontaneity, they form your new core. Solid spine, liquid presence. In fact, let's call it rooted chaos. You stop asking, who am I supposed to be? And you start becoming exactly whatever the moment needs. You don't perform anymore. You don't freeze up waiting for the right version of you to show up. You move. You fucking speak. You adjust on the fly. Not perfectly. That's not needed. You don't have to thread the fucking needle every time. You're just present. That is what people respond to. Not your personality, your presence. That sense that you're actually here with them. Unfiltered, unrepeatable. The thing they can't replicate or copy or sell fucking back to you. That's what lands. That's what draws people in. And yes, when you start down this path, initially you are going to feel that tension between who you were and who you're becoming. Again, one part of you is like, this feels too loud. Another part's like, this feels like hiding again. Good. Let them fucking argue. That's the work. And you don't come out of this whole process optimized. You come out of it scraped down to something honest. Because now you can become anybody without needing anybody to approve. So when that old voice, comes back, pops up again, the one saying, oh, tone it down. That's not me. Don't argue with it. Just fucking smile and do the goddamn shit anyway. You're not stuck, okay? You are becoming. And that's when everything starts to ignition. Because there's no elegant or simple way to do this, okay? It's fucking messy. You do not evolve. You detonate. And you don't get to keep the comfort and have the freedom. You don't get to, play in the safe zone and still be that unforgettable, undeniable motherfucker, the gangster motherfucker. You got to choose, okay? And look, if you're serious about that choice, if even 1% of you is ready to start doing this shit for real, click the link. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Do it right fucking now. Because once you click it, everything changes. Not all at once, not in like a super dramatic fashion, but piece by piece. And when that eventually happens, you won't be yourself. You'll be whatever the moment can't ignore. Be nobody. Then become whoever the fuck you need to be. This has been Jeffy, and I'll see you next time.